Hello guys, let's talk about list in HTML. Talking about list in HTML is just the way you list out things. Just like for example, if you are going to market to get some food stuff, you can decide to write them out. Writing them out is list. Then we have different type of list. Then the way you write it, well, you can decide to number it giving them number one, two, three, or you can decide to use ABCD, or you can just decide to use dots like number one, number two, just like that. So those are the different type of lists. We have order list, we have unordered list, we have nested list, and we have description list. So we are going to start with unordered list. And what are unordered list? Unordered list are lists that you list them with a dot or like a square or a circle. You didn't. It's not a number. It's not like an alphabet. Those are on other list, and we are going to start with that. Now, for you to be able to write a list, there are some tags that you will have to follow. Just like what we are doing is programming. We are writing code. And for you to be able to write code, okay, what you are doing, we are writing code for computer to follow. So for you to be able to write out list on your system, you have to know the tags you will follow, the tags you will use to write the code for computer to understand what you mean. Because everything that we do in programming is just writing code, and writing code for computer to perform the action. So from the code that we write, computer will give us what we want. I'm trying to open a folder. Okay, I've opened a folder. Now I want to start list. Okay, let me go into the folder that I just opened. And here is the folder. Then inside this folder, I will have to create files. Okay, okay, here is my first file. I'll call it index. Giving a name to file, you can give any name, but every HTML file must end with .html for the browser to know that it's an HTML file. Then after that, you open the file, write out the structure of HTML. Now, inside the body of the HTML, that is where we write the list. I say we start with another list. And writing another list, there are some tags you must follow. Now, the first tag is UL, which stands for on order list. Now, everything that you want, all the list items will be inside this on order list. So now, when the browser is reading through this structure, getting to this UL, it will know that this UL now is on order list. So whatever comes inside this UL, it will list it. After this UL, now the next one is LI, which stands for list items. Let me say I want to list out names. Let me see names of my friends. Then what I will do inside this first list item, I will put the first list, which is Felix, which is my name. After that, I'll put another list item, which is LX. I'll put another one, Toby, which is a very good friend of mine. After that, I'll put another list item, which is Daniel. I'm just writing out my coding friend's name. After that, I have another one, which is another LI, which is Amarachi. Okay, what I've written here now is an unordered list. So let me run it. Then we see how the browser will display what we have written. Let me go live. Now let's see it on the browser. So after this now we talk about order list. It's coming up. Okay. Now if you can see, it has something like a dot before the names. Those dots, the reason why that thing is a dot is because of this UL. The UL now is on ordered list. Now these dots now they are not in ordered manner. If we change it and bring the last one to this first one, you won't notice it because they are not ordered. Now let's go to order list. An order list and unordered list, there is no difference between them. The only difference is that the UL is OL. Now order list start with OL, which is ordered list. Then inside we have list items. I will use the same name so that we see the difference. The first one is Felix. And as I just put Felix, if you check from my browser, you will see that it has one Felix. That is the first list item is number one. Then the second one is Toby. Then the third one is Daniel. Then the fourth is Amarachi. Okay. Now, the first, sorry, the second one is OL, while the first one is UL. The only difference is that U and the O. Now, when the browser comes and to read it, it see that UL and it know what we need is on order list. So it just give us this dot. Coming to this to the next one is COL. That O stands for ordered. Then the L is list, that is ordered list. Then this second one now is in ordered manner. If we check, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you continue to put the list items inside this order list, if you continue, you will be seeing it, the number will be increasing. So that is order list and unordered list. Now, order list, we can decide to change it from 1, 2, 3 to ABCD. And we can also decide to start from the last number down to from the biggest down to the lowest. Let's try it. Now we want to change it from 1, 2, 3 to ABCD. By changing it, we are going to add an attribute to the UL tag. And what is an attribute? An attribute is something that gives a tag more meaning. Now, the attribute that we are going to add is type. This type, if you check, when I just put type, all this come out. We have one capital A, small a, then capital L, capital I, and small I. Now let's use capital A. As I click on capital A now, you see that everything changed to ABCD. I can come inside here and remove that capital A and put a small a. It will change to ABCD in small letter. Then I can still put Roman numerals by putting I. You can see it. So this is the type. So now let me change it back to the default value, which is ABC, sorry, 1, 2, 3. Then we try to change it to count from the highest down to the lowest. So let me remove this type and put start. Putting start, let me say, okay, sorry. Now putting start, we want to start from a particular number. We don't want to start from 1. Let me say you want to start counting from 3, 4, 5, and 6. We don't want to start 1 and 2. What I will just do, I'll put start. Then inside this start, I will just put 3 as the value. If we check now, when I put 3, it's move 1 and 2 out. Then start counting from 3, 4, 5, and 6. I believe you understand. Then another one, we have another attribute called reverse. Reverse will make it to count from the lowest, sorry, from the highest down to the lowest. When I put reverse, let me remove this start. Okay. Now reverse make it to start counting from the highest down to the lowest. Before it was 1, 2, 3, and 4, but now it's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then if you notice something, when I put that start, then I put 3, it start counting from 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, let me put 2. You start counting from 2, 1, 0, and minus 1. You know, after 0 is minus 1. So if that we have more list inside, then I start counting from 2 down. It means we will have minus, 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 like we have minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, depend on the list that we have. Then after that, we still have, okay, let me put all the attributes. Sorry, start. Then we have type. Let me use small a. Okay, then the start should be 3. Okay, then let's check on other list. How can we change it, and how if we can do the same thing that we do to other list? Now on other list does not have start, it does not have reverse as an attribute. Reason being that if you are starting from, let me say you want to start from Daniel, start counting from Daniel and remove the on other list of Felix and Toby, it's still the same thing because they are not in ordered manner. You won't even know. It's the same thing that will still appear. So it does not have start and it does not have reverse. Now, if you put reverse, then you try to reverse it, just what we did on this other list. Even though it reverse, it's still the same thing. So it does not have reverse as an attribute. The only thing is he has an attribute is type. Sorry, type has type. We can put square. If you put square now, you see that the first on other list was cycle, but this one now is square. This one is square. So that's what we can do with another list. Then the next one is nested list. Nested list is other list inside on other list or on other list inside other list. For example, when you have, let me say, an exam questions, sometimes you have number one, you have one A, one B, one C, or one dot dot, something like that. So that is when they enter into each other. It's called on other nested list. Now let's do nested list. Now how do we write nested list? Now what I want to write is one, two. Then the one we have dot, one dot dot, or one dot 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 before number two. So what I will do, the first thing is one, which is under other list. So I will put OL. Then inside this OL, I will now have the first list items, which will stand as number one. Then I will still use name. Then after this ULI, I will now have UL, which stands for on other list. Then inside this on other list, I will now have another LI, which is its own list item. Then inside here, I can now put others, favor. Then if we check from the browser, let me make this thing small. Okay. Now, if we check from the browser, you see that we have one. Then under one, we now have another list, which is favor. I can duplicate this. You can see it now. If I duplicate it now, we have more under that first LI. For me to write number 2, I will have to come out from this UM and put another LI. This LI now is under this OM, so it will stand as number 2. You can see it here. So I will just duplicate this. I will just copy this and paste it inside this. Okay, this one is down here. Then under here, I can just duplicate this and put under number 2, and it enters. So this is nested list. This nested list. This order list. This unordered list. I think I will have to write it out. These are the 3 type of lists we'll talk about today. I believe it's not too hard. So we'll talk about more by our next class. Thanks.